operators. To this day, Iphc remains not only the owner of the buses, but also the title holder of the buses in the midst of these accusations. The very same company, Ntate Ulerato, that its registration has been flashed out in social media, its directors and their IDs, no cognizance of the POPIA, protection of personal information. They just post like that. They don't care. And we think we are wearing hood clubs. No, we are not. Our quietness doesn't mean we are not seeing or we are not acting. We will always remind them of the slow walk of a leopard. It is not a secret that Iphc is a non-profit and public benefit organization and therefore cannot trade in private commercial activities. As a result, the church openly has private companies and trusts that partake in private commercial activities on behalf of the church. So we are telling you, members of the media today, that this company, Ntate Ulerato, that is often punted as belonging to our spiritual father, is not our spiritual father's private company. He is not a shareholder of the company. The company belongs to Iphc, the church, 100%. He is a director of that company on a mandate of the church council. Mr. Tsepo Puti is the proxy. Any company will have management. He runs the operation of that company as a proxy on behalf of a director whose directorship emanates from a mandate from the church, mandated by the church council. Now, this puppet Mudibe then comes and say those buses belong to our spiritual father. He knows nothing. He knows nothing. And if he doesn't stop, him also. And at some point, I actually took a step to file a lawsuit against him. But I retreated on reasons that I will not advance. But he should not relax and think I'm sitting back. No, I'm coming. And we are coming as a church as well. So, that entity in Ntate Ulerato belonged to Iphc. Today, members of the media, you know that that entity belongs to Iphc. Then go and ask them, where do they get this thing of saying the company belongs to our spiritual father? They will not have an answer because they do not know the internal affairs of the Iphc. They do not know them. The directorship of our spiritual leader does not mean by any stretch of anyone's imagination owned and belonging to him. He is mandated by the church council to represent it and effectively the church, and in order to comply with relevant prescripts regulating the running of such companies with specific reference to the Companies Act 71 of 2008. So, if these police officers want to make arrests or any arrest on this matter, they must arrest the entire church council or those who have interest in the buses, and those happen to be congregants. So, if those police make arrest next week, for argument's sake, as an example, they have to arrest the entire church council. And if it may, the entire congregation. So, they were invited. They requested a statement from our spiritual father. We said, whoa, you seem to rush to arrest. Come, meet the church council so that we can tell you, because there seem to be things that you do not know, because seemingly you are being bought. You are in the pay pockets of Leonard Modis, because he's the complainant in the matter. They knew last week that this past Wednesday, we are meeting. They agreed. Then on Wednesday, 2 hours before the meeting, at an 11th hour, then they cancel. They say, no. we have a commitment elsewhere. It's impossible. You cannot rush to arrest. You cannot have such haste. Then 11th hour, and then you say, I have another matter. Isn't it our matter important? So they're even taking us for granted. Our church has representation throughout SADC. So members of the council traveled from Botswana, Lesotho, Mozambique, Zimbabwe for that meeting, and they don't come. So they are not taking it serious. And yet, they want our cooperation. We need them. They must come. There's no arrest they are going to make unless they meet the church council. Because what they have lies. There's no arrest that they are going to make. As members of the church, as the council of the church, we will not allow that to happen. We will not allow that to happen. If they do, they must answer the questions we have asked, and they must come so that they have proper information that will go to the prosecutor for the prosecutor to make a decision. And you know what they say? They send their apology or excuser, not even an apology. Then they say, we are not coming. They tell our lawyers, please get the statement, send us the statement. I mean, why did they agree to a meeting in the first place? And failure to attend the meeting, they want a statement. And you know what they say? They said, no, we want a statement so that we can quickly give it to the prosecutor so that the prosecutor can make a decision. You know why they are rushing? Next week, the whole of next week, we are going back, our father is going back to court. The whole week. The very same shenanigans that happened over 2 years ago. This thing of them rushing, the appearance of our father in court next week is exactly what we are complaining about. They rushed to arrest. Since then, no evidence is presented. Every time we go to court, there's postponement. Investigation is not done. Investigation is not done. So their postponement are just frivolous, as it were, and arbitrary, as it were. Just to humiliate our father so that the Star newspaper can publish, Modibe can publish, and our father's image is tarnished, they harassed him, and so forth. That's their purpose, nothing else. But they will fail at their game. In conclusion, we have screamed at the top of our voices about the dishonesty and misconduct of the rogue police officers. We do not have trust in the police force any longer. We do not. We say that without any fear or favor. We have no trust anymore in the police force. And we've said this before. We've said this before. We have no choice now but to do everything in our power and within the ambit of the constitution of this country to correct and address our concerns regarding our safety and security ourselves. So let us not be, let there be no question that says, what do you mean when you say that? We are saying within the ambit of the constitution. Every citizen and a community in this country has got rights. We will use every angle that is provisioned for in the constitution of this country to address these concerns ourselves. Because the police have failed dramatically and remarkably so. And by the way, we are making a public statement. We are not complaining. We are saying this, taking ownership of this particular matter of the buses. So we do have the wherewithal to do so of what we're saying. Oftentimes, government and political leaders will call for cooperation and code the relations between law enforcement, safety and security agencies and communities in order to fight crime and all sorts of social ills, including abuse and misuse of state resources by rogue police officers. And as we have said, those rogue police officers include the generals, yeah, big generals. We are coming. Their time will come. We have, without fear of contradiction, satisfactorily so perform the role so far, including our landmark protest to the SEPS headquarters in March 2022. If you continue to be pushed the way it is happening now, we will not hesitate to repeat our actions, if not on a bigger scale. We will bring any city, in particular the capital city, to a standstill. That is not a threat, because we have done that before, and this should not be construed to be war, because we will be communicating in a manner that we would be, because that, it seems to be a language our government understands very well. That is not the part we desire to take, but if we are forced to do so, we will do so. That, members of the media, concludes what I would refer as a public statement and not a media briefing, because we are saying to these rogue public police officers, if you are going to make arrests without these police investigating these buses, without them having answered the questions we have asked, without them having presented themselves before the council, there's no arrest that they are going to make, unless they want to see chaos. There's no arrest that they are going to make. So we hope this message goes to the top management of the police, so that they understand that we are not seeing any impartiality, we are not seeing any fair process in what the police are investigating, but we see rogueness, we see misconduct, we see misbehavior of the police perpetuating their own propaganda, serving their own masters, led by Leonard Modise, the Star newspaper, Modiba Modibi. I thank you in the name of God Almighty. So the refreshments are served. You know, we cannot let you go hungry, and we know that you always have assignments to do, and have refreshments and proceed to your next assignments. Any questions, if you have?
I have a question here.
Yes, Aaron?
Yes. Here, on your intro here,
yes,
of the statement, you are talking about rogue police intimidating, want to arrest and threaten Iphc leadership.
Yes.
Who are those leadership? And then, when did you hear about this intimidation and arrest and so forth? Have you opened the case, since these are serious allegations? And then second, you are talking about 2 buses.
Yes.
And then I want to know, how many buses does the church own? Not only this, all the other buses of IP, how many buses do you have?
Yes.
Because here maybe there is this issue of people that they will be talking about, that there are some other assets belonging to individuals, leader,
Yeah.
and also the congregation. Maybe you can clarify that these other kind of assets
Yes.
are under the name of church, and then these other assets, like this office,
Yes.
is under church or is under a leadership of the church.
Yes.
So maybe you can clarify on that also, because now there are 2 other issues. And also, you are talking about police harassment. You are experiencing this harassment from the police around Gauteng or police national, or these police who are intimidating and harassing, and exactly who are they targeting in this arrest and intimidation? And the police, are they only from Gauteng, or they are national police who are harassing you?
Yes, okay.
And then what have you acted on that? Have you reported them maybe to the IPT or opened cases regarding those issues?
Okay. right, about the leadership. Specifically, now, let me share with you the modus operandi. The only person they need is our spiritual father. That's whom they target, right? But what they do, they know who surrounds him, right, as the leader. Now, what they do, and they know that in his leadership, he's not directly involved in the day-to-day operations, right? Now, they target those that are around him so that they can get to him. That's what they do. That's what they do. I'll tell you one example with the Palm Ridge Court case. He was not a witness. He was not an accused, right? But one of his aiders, right, was arrested. And in that case, which is still ongoing, by the way, in that case, then the witnesses so happen, right, to invoke his name. Then the question will be asked, who is this so and so that his name appears here, right? And then they tried, actually, to send him, or for him to send a warning statement. We challenge the police, like we are saying, we're going to use our power and means provisioned in the Constitution to fight for ourselves. The police came. They wanted a warning statement. We refused. And that was not illegal. We asked them 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. They failed to answer them. Then they left him because they realized we are clever with these things. Then they let him out. Then as the court, as the case proceeded, then the magistrate at some point then decided to summon him. Right? Then he summoned him. That's what they do. So they target us, including myself. There was a fake affidavit that was done in my name. My address, my ID, my telephone numbers were flashed in social media, right? A case was opened at the Central Police Station, at the National Office of the SEPS. Then a particular sergeant came to say I made certain allegations about a spiritual leader. So those who perpetuated that propaganda, they come to me so that they can get to him. That's all that they want. That's their modus operandi. They will never go to him direct. Then they come to us so that they can get to him, because they know around him, right, he has the authority to execute the tasks as mandated by the Church Council. So that's what they do. So when I say leadership, is people around him with particular reference trying to get to him. So that is to answer the case about who are they targeting. So we sort of are conduit, we are being inconvenienced in a way so that they can get to him. You reminded me about a very important matter that I did not address. You asked as to whether we open a case or not. On the matter of these 2 buses, on discovering that the 2 buses were fraudulently transferred to Ntate Lerato, this private entity. On discovering that, we opened a case, right, to say we are seeing the transfer of the buses, a transaction that a director doesn't know about and the management doesn't know about. What is happening here? We tried to open the case last year. Luckily, we were able to open it this year in February. We have a case number. In February, we opened that case, countering a transaction that we don't know how it's created. And we don't put past it that Leonard Modise and his crew, they created this transaction, they orchestrated this transaction so that it may seem like our father has fraudulently transferred these buses into an entity where he's a director, right? So we opened that case in Feb. As we speak, nothing has happened with that case. But you know what is happening? Leonard opens the case in July, 6 months later. Now, in July. These cases where 3 weeks ago the police came and investigate, want to make haste arrest, it was open in July. And when they are told, but how can you rush now to investigate this case and not investigate our complaint? Because the very same matter of fraudulent transfer you are alleging, we complained about, we opened the case, here's the case number. And then these police ignore that. They said, no, don't tell me about that case. We are not here about that case. Why? Because these cases are linked. There was a transfer which we did not understand where it came from. We opened a case, but that case, nothing is happening about. Nothing. 6 months later, Leonard opens the case, then tugu. Then the police are rushing to arrest and investigate the matter. They must go. We are telling them. They must go and investigate the case we opened in February. Otherwise, we may as well not cooperate on this case. They must go and investigate that one first so that we can see the fairness in them. So, to answer your question, yes, we have opened the case in this particular case. We have. And apart from that, we have taken 2 or 3 police to IPT. Right? In all of them, they saw no need to investigate, walla, whatever. Hence, we ended up going to the SEBS headquarters in March last year. So that protest was to say, a lot of them, we're opening a lot of cases, no arrest. Where arrests are made, there's a case we opened about the former lawyer who worked for the church, or who was a member of the church, rather, who was arrested for fraud and forgery. As I speak to you now, they let him off the hook. And there's evidence, facts. Before a prosecutor and the police, facts. We are not talking allegations. Fraud signatures, money that was fraudulently withdrawn, Facts. Not allegations. Nothing has happened to those. So, we are not saying this and having done nothing. We do everything in our power to counter the allegations leveled against us. Procedurally so, but nothing happens. Right? The buses. Those buses belong to the church. Maybe you must just do an exercise and go to the Zirbecom compound and go and count the buses there. You'll get more than 10 buses, provided they've even scrapped them and sold them, because that's what they do. But we have plenty of fleet, buses, trucks, buggies, and so forth, because we are a kingdom. We have grown. We have facilities. We have farms and so forth. So we have a spiritual community that needs to eat. We feed, because the demographic and the nature of the members of the church, they come from poor families. Yes. So that fleet, we have a list, but we are waiting for these police to complete their job. We have a full list of fleet that belong to the church, including the buses belong to the church. And now, Aaron, you know better, because you've been following the issues, especially the leadership court case. You've been even attending there. Both Sepiso Modise and Leonard Modise renounced their rights to be leaders of the church, right? And the church remained. And you were there when the judge said they need to pay the cost to the church. And those buses belong to the church. And who's Leonard to say we stole the buses that belong to us? How can we steal our own buses? And by the way, for your own information, out of those many fleet buses, there are Marco Polo buses, double deckers, right? That belong to the church, right? And then those buses they are talking about are single deck buses and old buses. I show you that the value of those buses combined is less than 250,000. You've seen our development. You've seen the work that we do. Can we really go steal buses worth 250,000 in relation to where we are going? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. So leadership, who are they arresting, are addressed, have you opened the case and reported the case, and the buses. Are you answered?
I just want one more
Yes.
point here.
Okay.
After the court
Yes.
case, clarify, have you moved on to the other branches? Like we call it branches because it's a faction
Yes.
at the moment. Zubacom, and then the other one is Prince,
Yes.
and the other one is Samuel.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes.
So there's the bishop in charge of those three branches now.
Look, I know we're dealing with the matter of police, but you are asking a very important thing. For the benefit of the doubt and that you are here, I'm going to answer you. Remember, after that court case, procedurally, we notify them of 14 days to vacate those premises. They haven't. So, but ultimately, they will vacate those premises because we have taken illegal steps. At the right time, at the right moment, we'll call you here, we will answer you. Right now, they are still occupying those premises, but illegally so. But we have taken a legal step in that regard. So we are not physically in those, but those belong to us. Yeah, we are not physically there, they belong to us. Remember, we are painted as people that are violent, and stuff like that. They misinterpreted our notification to them that in 14 days they need to vacate. So they misinterpreted that to mean that we will violently go in there and remove them. And we never said that. But being who they are, they have not. But as we send you these invites and so forth, we'll give you an update. That is what is happening there. But ultimately, they will get out. That is what we can assure you. They will definitely get out.
So there's still tension.
You can say that, but at least not from our side.
No, I mean, these are the brothers, or the biological brothers.
Yes.
So there is still tension.
Yes.
In the family.
Yes, there is.
For the leadership.
Yes, there is. Okay. Amongst themselves. You remember they said there's unity. 3 months, come 3 months. Ne? As long as we invite you, you come to where we are. You will see indeed that there's no unity here. You will see. Remember they said there's unity. Yeah, there's unity. But let's come to where we invite you. Go to court, you come here, you come, and then we will show you, say, the unity that has been parted. Look at this. Do you think there's unity there? Yes. But there's only one Iphc, and that is where you are right now. There's no doubt about it. And Aaron, when I read your article and you say Jerusalem faction, yeah, I'm going to challenge you. How? I don't know.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah. Any other question?
Okay, thank you.
No, any other questions? Thank you very much. See you at the next media briefing where you'll be invited, and thank you for always honoring our invitation, because this is not just howling, but it's very important piece of information that will help those who are being misled in the public. We really appreciate your support as the media. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, just for, you said you mustn't call it faction. How should we call it?
I don't know, you are a journalist. So if you want me to help you, remember, Aaron, you have a court, you were there. Yeah. When there were parties that this party 1, Leonard Modise, this party 2, Tsepiso Modise, party 3, Iphc, right? The order was you are going to pay the cost to who? Iphc, right? So do the right thing. Do the right thing. You are a journalist. Be creative. You'll see how to write about it. But I can't tell you what you must write. But we are Iphc. We are the only Iphc. Thank you.
Okay.